Hello, good evening, welcome along. It's the Jackocar Cup Series once again here, back at Imola. It's been a while since we've been here. It is season 13, round 13. Of course, the first season of Thursday Night Thunder as well. And we're getting towards the business end of things, as we only have, 5 races left in the debut season of Thursday Night Thunder. So, as you can see, we've got 19 drivers with us. You've got me, Owen Wyatt, in the commentary box, and you'll probably have Jacko in the chat, but he's currently not available to commentate, so you're going to have to deal with just me, unfortunately, for this week. I think after this week, myself and Jacko are very much here through to the finish, as we see the first couple of cars coming out of the pits. As usual, we will be running our duels format. 5 duels for the Premier in Chase, and 5 duels for the Dr. Pepper playoffs. No, they're not real sponsors, but you never know. One day they might notice, and they'll probably have some questions to ask, but we'll worry about that when we get there. First 2 drivers out are the first 2 drivers in duels. They are Dustin Rolco and Leroy Hasselager. And I've got to do a little bit of housekeeping on the championship situation, because at the start of last week's stream, I was sure we were going to lose 2 drivers in the chase, and then I think me and Jack managed to talk our way out of it. So we actually did lose 2 drivers from the chase. We lost Jack Craig and we lost Robin Border. Just scrolling down the ladder, it doesn't look like either of those 2 are here this week. Hence probably why we have Dustin here. And yeah, so 2 chase drivers down already. We're now also 2 playoff drivers down, and I also got that wrong last week. So I had a very successful run last Thursday. I said Gareth Hull was out. In fact, he wasn't even 8th in the playoff standings at the end of last week. He was 7th. He was ahead of Ben Shaw, who had that spin on the final lap, but they were both ahead of Sullivan Lewis on points. So he also got knocked out too. That goes alongside Michael Lekeke's knocking out in the first round of the playoffs a couple of weeks ago. So, down towards turn 1, we'll follow Leroy Hasselager. I do believe he has a win here in the Cup Series. I think he's had a pole position this season as well. At least he's been relatively near the top in some of these wacky qualifying sessions where he comes out towards the rear of the field. Leroy currently sits bottom of the chase standings, but there are no drivers, and it is true this time, there are no drivers getting knocked out of the chase this week. There will be a playoff driver getting knocked out, so at the minute Gareth and Ben are very much on the edge of being knocked out, but Casper and Chris Waits are still very much there as well. They'd say those are the 4 that have a real chance of getting knocked out, so we'll follow their progress. But yeah, no chase drivers get knocked out this week. Then we'll lose 2 next week, and a further 2 the week after that, which will lead us into the 16th round, which will be in Bahrain, and that will be our effective Championship 4 for the chase runners. We will get 1 winner from that, and that driver will join the 4 drivers at the top of the playoffs, and that will make your Championship 5 for the season finale. Can't tell you where it is yet, because I don't know where it is yet, so we'll not need to worry about that for a while. Leroy has gone fastest, ahead of Dustin Rolco. You could see actually on the minimap, couldn't you, just the gap that was being built there between those 2. So, fair enough. Good work from Leroy. Ben Harrett will be up against Pete Knighton in the next duel. So we can follow Pete Knighton. Ben Harrett will start his lap afterwards. He will be that black dot you can see at the bottom right hand side of your screen, just going for the DRS detection point and the speed trap, which for some reason is towards the final corner and not towards the first corner. Really, it should be where Pete Knighton just come through there at Tamburello, but oh well. I suppose there's nothing that'll never get updated, since we're not going back to Imola in real life F1. There was a chance we could have gone back after the cancellation of Bahrain and Saudi Arabia in real life, but I don't think there was any gap to get it done, and even then it's a logistical nightmare. So this is yeah, possibly the last time we'll see Imola. Depends really if F126, I suppose F126 actually will keep Imola, won't it, in the game's files, because Be a bit silly for a DLC to just get rid of a track which they already have in the game. So, yeah, scratch that thought. We might see him a little bit more often. Depends if this is a good race, I suppose, as I'm sure discussions are already well underway into making the Season 14 calendar. And the numbers just get more and more ridiculous, really. Season 13, I've gotten used to saying that, but Season 14 feels like it's a step too far. But oh well, wait till we get to like 20 or 25, then you'll be really confused. As Jordan, who's in the next duel, we'll worry about him in a minute. He's against Barry Baldwin. He goes fastest. That's been beaten by Pete Knighton. And the driver behind him, couldn't quite see who that was, but hopefully they're just starting to lap and we don't have to worry about them. Here comes Ben Harrett. So he's got to beat Pete Knighton's time of 1 minute 15.7 to win the duel. Point goes a little bit wide at the final corner. Lucky not to get his lap time invalidated, but he's too slow anyway. He only goes 4th fastest. But yes, we mentioned Jordan there. He is ahead of most of the field so far. So Barry Baldwin's going to have a job on his hands to win this duel. For all these duels, you win 1 point. That goes into your duel standings, assuming you win your duel, of course. And towards the end of the season, we'll be able to tell you the results of those duels, and whoever's at the top gets some bonuses, and it'll all be explained once we get pretty much to the end of qualifying in Australia, I would have thought. We're in Saudi Arabia next week, and that'll be our next wildcard event as well, so look out for that. But yeah, Australia next week, or no, Saudi Arabia next week, then Australia, then Bahrain, then who knows what the Championship 5 will be. As we watch Barry Baldwin struggling through the final couple of corners. He's almost gone too slow in there, actually, and you can see that's why he's fighting the car so much. He's got too much grip, as he looks to be running a 2008 McLaren throwback. I'm guessing that based on the fact he's running Hamilton's 2008 helmet in there, and I mean the colours are pretty close. This game sadly isn't very good for sort of replicating liveries, as we see Robin there, who sadly, let's say, is one of the two drivers, along with Jack Craig, who got knocked out of the chase last week. So he's last in the championship, but he has still set a time in this qualifying session. He'll be against Jackocar. That's the duel, the last duel of the chase, but there's also another duel that's a little bit behind these guys. We just see Deck beating Robin Border in his duel, so good work from him. Mike Kelterborn's gone 9th fastest. He's against Jamie Griffiths. Jamie Griffiths, who, for the life of me... Oh, he's already set his time. There you go. He's gone 4th fastest. So Jamie wins his duel, Deck wins his duel, Jordan wins his duel, Pete wins his duel, and Leroy wins his duel. I believe that's everything sorted there in the chase. So we will move on to the playoffs. So let's say, yeah, just to remind you on that, Sullivan Lewis and Michael Akeke are out of the playoffs. One driver gets eliminated every week. It's as simple as that. We've got 6 playoff races, 6 drivers to get knocked out. So it's as simple as just one every week, rather than the 2 every 2 weeks that we used to have. So Ben Shaw is currently sitting bottom of those standings. Let's say Chris Waits is 5th in the standings. He's got 3,038 points. And Ben Shaw in 8th is on 3,027 points. Johannes in 4th, Johannes Millers, is on 3,061. So he's basically too far away, in essence, to be caught. So it'd be Chris Waits versus Casper Klein on 3,032, Gareth Hall on 3,028, and Ben Shaw on 3,027. So 11 points between those 4. And yeah, I'll do the maths at the end of the race, and one of those 4 most likely will be knocked out this evening. Speaking of Gareth Hall, he's running an advert for Ben's OnlyFans. I don't know whose OnlyFans we're talking about here. I mean, you'd have to assume it'll be Ben Shaw's, but I mean, Ben Harrett, I mean, you've seen him in those Championship 5 productions. It could well be him as well. But I'm sure Gareth's not going to worry about that too much as he comes through. He is in a duel tonight against Michael Okeke, who obviously is basically just, you know, racing for fun now. He did quite well in duels in the regular season. He was very much close to the top of the duel standings across those first 10 rounds. So Gareth has got a good challenger alongside him. And you can see it looks like a pretty good lap actually so far from Gareth. At some point he'll have to start sweating because he would like to make a Championship 5 in his own league. Ben Shaw's obviously been there, done that, won the championship, got the t-shirt, all the rest of it. And Gareth Hall, who missed out ever so controversially, as per usual, in Monza last season. He'll be looking to get himself into that top 4 as we see him cross the line. This should go fastest, and it does. It was so impressive that the game actually lagged as he crossed the line. It couldn't believe what it was seeing. But Gareth Hall has gone fastest. I'd call it a rare sight because we really haven't seen it too much. I think the last time we saw him as high as that and looking as confident as that was at Kota a couple of seasons ago, where he was on the front row and he was very nearly on pole that day. Here comes Michael Okeke. Hasn't won for a very long time. He goes 7th fastest, not too bad for him as he comes across the line. Next duel out there will be Sullivan Lewis, who has been knocked out now of the championship. He will cross the line and hopefully see if he can challenge our league owner. And the game took its time, but there you go, 1 minute 14.8. That was a very quick time indeed. I was going to say about Sully, it's a shame to see him knocked out so early. In previous seasons you might have said, well, that's a bit expected, Sully's not the fastest, he'll fall down. He's a lot faster these days as than he would have been even 3 or 4 seasons ago. He's really attempting to become a front runner, so him being out of the playoffs this early is a bit of a crying shame. But if he can still be out there fighting for podiums, maybe even sneaking a race win every now and then, it'd be good to see. Casper wasn't here last week. He was quite worried he'd been knocked out. He has got a challenge on his hands. He's 29 points behind the top 4 at the moment in the playoffs. He's only got 3 races to close that gap. Although with the pace he has at the minute, and considering you get 35 points for a win, 1 or 2 things could go his way. You know, all he really needs is one of, let's say, I don't know, say Johannes or Tony, who are both on equal points, both that 29 points ahead of Casper. Say one of those two DNS and he wins the race. Well, he's back in it, isn't he? So it's not all that doom and gloom for him as he comes to the line. This will go fastest by about half a second, and it does. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Casper's progress is, but he always has a little bit of a sort of downbeat attitude to it. I suppose it makes the wins and the success all the more enjoyable when he gets it. Obviously still looking for a first Cup Series title. He probably still goes to bed at night thinking about the barriers on the exit of the final corner at Vegas all the way back in season 8. Almost half a league ago, really. It's been that long that we've been doing this. But yeah, we'll not think about that too much. So Casper and Gareth, they win their duels. Next one up is going to be Tony Kirkpatrick versus Ben Shaw. And Tony, who well, a few people have been saying that he needs to be neutered a little bit and pushed towards the back. And in a rare case where we actually have all 20 drivers here, because you'll see Johannes has just showed up, Tony, who would have gone fastest with that time, is being nerfed. He's being neutered. He's been sent right to the back of the grid. 20th place on a track which isn't particularly easy to overtake on. That is going to be extremely interesting to watch. We've gotten used to seeing Johannes and Arnold and the likes of them come through from the back and get onto the podium. And if Tony can do that tonight, that'll be a real statement. He's been fantastic this season so far, after what was a relatively slow start. But this will be a real test of his abilities. So we'll see how he gets on. Ben Shaw, running a sort of back-to-basics colour scheme for him. And not the colours we're used to seeing him in, but he'll still stand out. Not very many sponsors on it either. I could try and work out what he's trying to reference with it, but at the very least, it's a nice and simple car to follow as he heads around the final couple of corners. He still has a trademark purple on there, so you can still tell it's relatively Ben Shaw related. 14.2 to challenge. He'll be in the 15s, but he still goes third fastest for Ben Shaw. Wins his duel as well at all counts, even when your rival doesn't set a lap time due to being invalid. That's not going to worry Ben Shaw as he comes around. Only 4 more drivers to go, so he'll be in the top 7 regardless. And speaking of those 4, the next duel is Chris Waits versus Jake O'Sullivan. Jake's only just come out for his out lap, so we won't worry about him for a while. We were talking about these looking like a packet of knickknacks. Obviously, these colours were obviously as well what Jacob Sullivan used all the way back in Saudi Arabia back in Season 5, where he got his first win and, of course, his first title as a result. So, yeah, I wonder... I mean, it got Jake a victory last week, so I think he's maybe going for the lucky colours, so to speak. So, we'll see how he gets along on his qualifying lap, but we don't need to worry about him for now, because here is Chris Waits, who's having a good season so far and looking to get a proper statement result. He's been very consistent, but if he can be challenging for the top 3 and try to close the points gap to Arnaud, Jake, Tony and Johannes in the top 4 in these standings, he currently sits 5th, then it would be mightily impressive. He currently sits mathematics. I don't know. He's about 23 points behind Johannes. Johannes has been having a few connection issues this evening. And obviously Tony's already at the back, again, level on points with Johannes. So, I mean, this would be a great evening to have a good night and close the gap. I mean, yeah, when I look at this, Casper and Chris Waits and Gareth Hall's had a good qualifying, and Ben Shaw's had a good qualifying. This really could be a week where we see the playoff standings get nice and close as we approach a wild card next week in Saudi Arabia as well. So these standings really could transform in the coming weeks. But here is Chris Waits. He's gone 5th fastest. He's 5th in the championship. Again, we've seen him be relatively consistent. How is Jake O'Sullivan getting on as he heads through his lap? He'll have got a lot of confidence from that victory last week in Abu Dhabi. He's not really been on the form we're used to seeing him on. Wasn't great through Aqua Minerale there, I must say. We'll see how the rest of his lap turns out, but you'd hope he has a bit more confidence now. He's rediscovered that dominant winning feeling, and we will see how he gets on this qualifying lap. But I'm not entirely convinced this is going to be anywhere near the front, so let's see. I hope I'm wrong for his sake. 1 minute 14.2 to beat. No, it's nearly a second off. Still beats Chris Waits in his duel, but is behind your likes of your Ben Shaw and your Casper Klein. That'll help things close up a little bit in the title race. I mean, he's a long way clear. I think he's safe as well from elimination this week. If anything goes terribly wrong, he's too many points ahead. And he won the last race anyways. I think that gives him general, safety. So we'll not worry about his lack of safety this week, because I don't think it exists. Same with Arnaud, who's just long way clear. 59 points clear of the drop zone as things stand. He's having a fantastic season, looking to become a 2-time Cup Series champion. And some people will say it's amazing he's only won the 1 title. He could have won Season 2, could have won Season 3 and 4, did win in Season 11. And he's just had a lot of good seasons where things could have happened and didn't quite for him. But this, after the disappointment of last season where he was knocked out in Japan, the first round of the playoffs, he's been driving well. He's a long way clear at the top of the standings. As he comes around the final corner, he would like to challenge for pole position as well. Here in Imola, 14.2 to beat. He doesn't quite get there. He's on the front row alongside Casper as things stand. But for Johannes, who's been getting better and better this season, he's returned to red and silver on his livery. Will it bring him more speed as he comes to the line? No, he's only gone P7, which leaves Casper on pole position then. And it leaves Arnaud, of course, winning his duel against Johannes, and Jake winning his duel against Chris Waits. That is a 20-car grid in Jackocar. Oh, it's lovely to see it when it happens, isn't it? Casper on pole, Arnaud second, Risky, Sully in third, Ben Shaw in fourth, Jake fifth. Gareth, again, we said it about his qualifying. That's very impressive to be up there in sixth, and it's what he needs as he's under pressure in the championship this evening. Johannes in seventh, Chris Waits eighth, Peanut in ninth, and Jordan in 10th. And you've got Deck, Jamie, Leroy, and we'll worry about the rest in a moment as we ride on board with the second place driver of Arnaud de Grief. And thank you very much, Jacko. That is Casper's 18th pole position in the Cup Series. And it's one he needed, I think. We don't see him on pole all that often, I don't think. We're always talking about his starts where he just bursts through the field. This time, he'll get to just drive away from him, so it'll be fascinating to see what gap he has by the time he gets on the brakes at Tamburello. But yes, bottom half of the grid. Deck, Jamie, Leroy, OKK, Robin, Ben Harrett, Bazza, Mike, Dustin, and Tony. And obviously, we've already gone through the top 10. Right then. Didn't check what the weather would be for the race. I'm hoping it's dry, actually, because I don't think we need the rain, really, to affect anything like this. I think we've got a very nice looking grid. Tony coming through from the back will be fascinating to watch. Because you can argue he's had a lot of things go his way in previous races. So, yeah, we'll see how he gets on. Just looks to me like that's a pretty nice Imola evening, doesn't it? Don't think we're going to see much rain there. So, I suppose that's good news for the drivers. Again, the tyres aren't particularly friendly on this game. They'll all be doing 2 stops. They can make those stops whenever they want, but they can't do it under a safety car. Red flags are still here as well. They're on increased. This track could produce incidents. I mean, we've got a lot of chicanes where side by side could turn into cars off in the gravel and tyres going off and all the rest of it. So this could be a very interesting race. I'm quite looking forward to this. I believe it's 32 laps around here. And they're relatively long laps as well. I mean, 1 minute 15s they're going around in. Sort of tracks well with, the likes of your Brazils and that, where about 5 seconds a lap quicker and about 4 laps more. So, yeah, decently long race. Not the longest you'll ever see, but should be long enough to hopefully, let's say, do some damage to these tyres as we just wait for the drivers to put some setups on and put some tyres on. Looks like a lot of them are on the softs, but that to me looks like R9's on mediums. So that'll be another different strategy for R9 this season. He likes going for the odd strategies every now and then. He always likes going long at some point on a stint, and he always gets caught up by a safety car, and it always really annoys me when he does it. But hopefully he knows what he's doing. We've got 11 drivers on softs by the looks of it, and we've got 9 on mediums. We'll run you through the grid again. Casper on pole on the softs, Arnaud in second on mediums, Sully in third on softs. Remember, he's out of the championship now. Ben Shaw in fourth on mediums. He is the driver directly at risk in the playoffs this evening. J. O'Sullivan fifth on softs, who won the last race. Gareth Hall in sixth on softs. He's going to be putting the pressure on fellow league owner Ben Shaw in the playoffs tonight. It's great that they're both near the front, because that'll definitely cause a lot of excitement, I'm sure. Johanna is in 7th on mediums. Chris Waits in 8th on softs. He could get dragged into this playoff battle as well. He was in trouble, as well as Casper, who's on pole. Pete Knighton in 9th on softs. And Jordan 10th. He's just in a little bit of a battle there, actually, with Pete on softs as well. Jackocar, the leader of the chase at the minute, by 8 points actually over Jamie Griffiths. It's all going quite well. He's on the sauce at the moment, I should say. Jamie on mediums behind. Leroy out of the championship if he stays where he is at the moment, in 8th in the chase standings, but there's a lot of drivers around him. I'm sure the points will flip upside down and all over the show. He'll be out next week if things don't go his way, along with whoever's in 7th. That'll be Barry Bald on his fence stand. They've got 2 races, let's say, to make things happen in the chase, but we'll see how they get on. OKK, 14th on the sauce. Robin, 15th on mediums. And you've got Ben Hara and Baz both on sauce. And the back 3, Mike, Dustin, and of course Tony on those medium compound tyres. As the drivers just come to the grid, I'm going to turn your audio up, because that just occurred to me. I don't need to talk to Jacko tonight, do I? So I can let you listen to the cars a little bit. And you can see that, by the way. Look at that. Casper's part basically level with the end of the kink that they go through at the start there. So from the outside, that must look quite like an aggressive turn. And you can see it from Arnold's point of view. You can see that the plan really must be Casper just go in a straight line and block off the Belgian who sits alongside him on the front row. But if his starts are anything like we've seen before, Casper, he should be able to fly off the line. 5 lights on here at Imola. And boogity, 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 let's go racing. And yeah, look at that. It's a good start from Casper again. He didn't need to cover Arnold. He was that far ahead of him. And Sully in 3rd place. on the grid. He has messed up tyres. We saw him go to the gravel. That's cost him third place. Gareth went wide at turn 1. Lucky to stay on the road there. That could have been drama, but he's off again, I think. And down to 13th place. And a lot of drama happening in the midfield so far in the early stages. No damage by the looks of it, but a lot going on there. So, poor start for Gareth Hall. He went wide at the first corner and then on the exit of Tamburello ended up in the gravel again. But at the front, it is Casper, obviously aided by being on softs as well, who leads ahead of Arnold and Ben Shaw. Let's say Risky, I think we were on board with him when he went off at the exit of the Villeneuve chicane. And the rubbish was still on his tyres on the grid. So that would have really affected his grip off the start. And I'm sure he's just got a warning as well there for cutting the top of Aqua Minerale. So that might make his afternoon, his evening, a little bit more difficult. And in fact, I'll tell you what, a lot of penalties will be accrued tonight because of the amount of chicanes on this track and the amount of advantage there is to cutting them. Because you can cut them in a way that the game doesn't penalise you for. It's really annoying. It's one of those tracks where Cody's haven't quite got the track limits 100% right. So yeah, we'll see people trying to take advantage. That final corner as well, very easy to go wide at. So yeah, penalties could well be the story this evening. As we watch down the main straight, we were watching Ben Harrett. He's having a look at the back of Jordan. He's got Gareth Hall behind in 14th place now. Tony now, the car behind Gareth. He's made up 5 places on the start of this race as we see Leroy getting ahead of Pete Knighton, who's now under pressure from Jamie Griffiths. Decker Cornley is up into 8th place at the minute, which I believe will be giving him a healthier advantage in the chase standings. He's still the highest runner in the chase. All is going well, and Jimmy Griffiths, he may well need to make some moves if he wants to and stay before this becomes a further problem. I have actually got in contact with the internet providers at my building of, you know, they said, oh, you don't need a LAN cable. There's no need for a LAN cable, but clearly there is a need for a LAN cable, isn't it? Because I keep getting kicked out of races. So the solution I came to last week was to literally stick a hotspot on. It's ridiculous, really. Stick a hotspot on, connect my PlayStation to it, and then go from there. And it looks to me like that's going to be the option for now. I'm hoping the stream doesn't die when I switch the internet around, but I'm sure it probably will. So I will return in a moment.